In the tech world today, it feels like you're just constantly bombarded with information, trying to stay ahead, really understand the cutting edge. It's tough. It feels like an Olympic sport sometimes, just sifting through it all and finding those genuinely impactful insights without getting totally swamped.
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal, isn't it? And that's why we're doing this deep dive. Our mission today, cut through that noise. We're digging into a bunch of sources on generative AI-based testing tools in software development. We want to pull out the key nuggets, what they are, what they do, and importantly, what you need to think about if you're considering one for your setup.
Absolutely. And look, this isn't just about, chasing the latest trend. It's more fundamental.
Hmm.
Picking a really solid generative AI testing tool, it can genuinely transform your whole software development process. Think better accuracy, more efficiency. It speeds things up in ways older methods just, well, can't always manage. The really cool part is how they can sort of anticipate problems.
Yeah.
But flip side, a badly chosen tool or a poorly designed one, oh, it can be a disaster. It might miss critical bugs, create security holes you didn't expect, give you false alarms, or worse, tell you everything's fine when it's not. That can mislead teams, lead to major software failures. So yeah, the stakes are pretty high, actually.
Okay, so high stakes. Let's start with the basics then. For anyone maybe less familiar, what is an AI testing tool fundamentally?
Sure. So at its heart, it's a tool that uses artificial intelligence to automate software testing. Think of it like a smart helper that assists in creating tests and also keeping them up to date, reduces that manual slog. A big piece of this is machine learning and something called self-healing heuristics.
So healing.
Yeah, it's the tool's ability to kind of automatically adapt. If the application changes, the tool can sometimes figure out how to fix its own tests so they don't just break. It spots errors in the tests themselves and tries to resolve them.
Okay, that self-healing sounds pretty useful. But we're specifically focusing on generative AI tools today. That's another level, right? How do they work differently from just general AI?
Right, this is where it gets really interesting. These tools don't just automate tests you've already thought of, they can actually create new ones. Generative AI tools use things like large language models, LLMs, the tech behind things like ChatGPT,
Okay, yeah.
and also generative adversarial networks, or GANs. That's where, sort of, two AIs compete to make better outputs. They use these to automatically dream up loads of different test scenarios, different kinds of inputs, maybe ones a human wouldn't think of. Then they run these tests, watch what happens, spot the bugs or inconsistencies. And crucially, they can often suggest smart ways to fix the problems they find, improving the software's accuracy.
Wow, okay, so they're inventing tests and suggesting fixes. That feels like a massive leap from just running predefined scripts faster. So what does that mean when you compare them directly to the traditional automation tools lots of teams use now? Let's unpack this.
Yeah, that's a crucial comparison because it really guides your strategy. We can break it down, first off, just the scope and approach. Traditional automation is about writing specific scripts, do this, check that, very defined, based on requirements someone wrote down.
Right, human-driven scripts.
Exactly. AI testing, though, it uses AI and ML to generate tests on its own. It tries to predict failures. It changes its own strategy based on what it learns. It's much more autonomous, more proactive.
Okay, and adaptability.
Big difference here. Traditional scripts are brittle. The app changes. You got to go in and manually update those scripts. It can be a huge time sink.
Tell me about it.
AI tools. Much more adaptable. They learn from what happens in the tests, tweak their approach. Often you don't need deep coding changes just to test a new feature.
Makes sense. What about efficiency? Is AI always faster?
Well, traditional automation is efficient for those repetitive, known tasks. Does them perfectly every time. But it might miss complex bugs, weird edge cases it wasn't told to look for. AI, because it's learning and generating diverse scenarios, can often be more efficient at finding those tricky, complex bugs and making sure you've got good test coverage. It simulates weird user paths better.
Okay. And maintenance. You mentioned self-healing.
Yeah, that ties in. Traditional automation needs constant upkeep. UI changes, logic changes, someone's updating scripts. With AI testing, the idea is less long-term maintenance because the system learns and updates itself, or at least flags things more intelligently. Reduces that maintenance burden.
How about handling complexity?
Traditional automation works best for stable, predictable stuff. Complex, dynamic applications, especially data-driven ones, they can really struggle without super complex scripts. AI is generally better suited to handle that kind of complexity, those dynamic scenarios that are a nightmare to script by hand.
And lastly, the human element.
Traditional automation still needs a lot of human effort, designing tests, writing scripts, maintaining them, setting up the infrastructure. AI aims to minimize that direct human involvement, especially in test creation and maintenance. The goal is to free up your human testers for more strategic work, like exploratory testing, thinking critically about quality.
That's a really helpful breakdown. So it's not just about doing the same thing faster, it's about shifting from reacting to bugs towards like proactively predicting and ensuring quality. It really changes the QA role, doesn't it? Less script janitor, more quality strategist. So given that, let's get concrete. Which tools are actually out there doing this stuff well? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Absolutely. And yeah, the market's moving fast. Some tools are really showcasing these ideas. Okay, first, let's talk testRigor. Their big thing is being a generative AI platform where you write tests in plain English.
Plain English. That sounds accessible.
Exactly. It opens it up beyond just hardcore coders.
Yeah.
Plus, it has those self-healing capabilities we talked about. Really cuts down on fixing broken tests. Versatile to end-to-end testing, web, mobile, real devices. Integrates with CI/CD pipelines. It handles tricky stuff like two-factor authentication logins, API testing, even specific things like Salesforce automation. Pros are things like good visual testing, handling complex web elements like shadow DOMs, iframes, hybrid apps, things that often trip up older tools. The limitation, it's not built for testing things like video playback, real-time financial graphs, or, video games.
Okay, testRigor, plain English, self-healing. Got it. What's next?
Then there's CoTester from TestGrid. They bill it as the world's first fully onboardable, trainable, and taskable AI software testing agent.
An AI agent sounds ambitious.
It is. The idea is it handles complex tasks autonomously, aims to really eliminate the manual work, and it's no code. It does cross-platform testing, real devices, different browsers, environments, can run tests in parallel to speed things up. And it integrates with the usual suspects, Jenkins for automation, Jira for tracking bugs, Slack for notifications, the big pluses, potentially wiping out manual testing effort, making it easy for non-technical folks, and it scales well.
Right, but I'm guessing agent implies a cost.
Yeah, it's a paid feature, custom pricing.
Okay, and the third main one.
Testlio. They offer AI-powered automation, but their unique angle is being backed by human insights. So their platform uses AI for transparency, reporting, predictive analytics, but they emphasize flexibility. You can use their AI with manual testing or other automation frameworks. They also offer services, expert advice, results analysis, validation, even managing the whole automation process for you, like finding testers, building frameworks. Plus, good integrations with CI/CD, DevOps tools like Jira, GitHub, Azure DevOps, Slack. The benefit is getting AI advantages quickly with expert help. The potential downside or consideration is that it's more of a partnership, requires active engagement from your team, some upfront investment of time.
Okay, so testRigor for English self-healing, CoTester as the eponymous agent, and Testlio blending AI with human expertise. Very different approaches. But the sources mention others too, right? Just briefly, what else is out there showing the variety?
Yeah, definitely. There's Blink.io positions itself as a virtual test automation engineer, focuses on analytics and security compliance. Roost.ai, specifically RoostGPT, uses big language models like Google's Vertex AI and OpenAI's GPT-4 to generate tests and keep them updated. Aims for really thorough coverage. Magnif AI, that one's all about automated visual testing. Pixel-level comparisons, integrates with tools like Selenium and Appium.
Ah, for catching those UI glitches.
Exactly. Then Context QA does AI-driven regression testing, also visual checks with auto-correction features, mobile and accessibility testing too. Relics has a Copilot for plain English goals, one-click release validation, and session replay that lets you see what happened during a failed test, plus SOC2 security compliance.
Session replay is handy for debugging.
For sure. And finally, Momentic. It's low-code, uses natural language for tests, supports continuous testing, and can even watch you interact with the app and generate test steps from that recording.
Wow, okay. So the range is huge, from plain English to visual checks to AI agents. Lots of innovation happening.
Definitely. And if we zoom out, think about how these fit into modern software development. These tools aren't just meant to be used in isolation. They're designed to plug right into DevOps pipelines, into agile workflows. Integrating them makes the whole process smoother, more responsive. Testing becomes part of that continuous integration, continuous deployment loop, the CI/CD cycle.
Yeah, and that's absolutely vital for Agile, isn't it? Fast releases, constant feedback loops. If testing is embedded right in there using AI, you spot issues almost instantly, not weeks later in some separate QA phase. So it directly fuels that need for speed and quality that drives modern development. Okay, but with all this power, all this automation, potentially sensitive test data flying around, there's a big elephant in the room: security. What are the absolute must-haves, the non-negotiables when you're evaluating these AI testing tools from a security perspective?
Oh, absolutely critical question. You're often feeding these tools sensitive data. or they're interacting with pre-production environments. So number one, check compliance with data privacy laws, like GDPR, CCPA, whatever applies to you. Is the vendor compliant? Number two, encryption. Data needs robust encryption, both when it's being sent and when it's stored. Then, access control. You need strong measures. Multi-factor authentication, definitely. Role-based permission so people only see what they need to see.
Right, least privilege.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Also, look for guarantees around encrypted communication channels, secure APIs. How do they handle data internally? What are their storage policies? You also want to see features like real-time monitoring, regular security audits performed by the vendor, and good comprehensive logging so you have an audit trail. And finally, what's their plan if something does go wrong? A clear incident response plan, decent support, and transparency in reporting any issues. That's key for trust.
That's a solid checklist. But are there broader risks maybe inherent to using AI in this way that people should be aware of beyond those specific features? This raises an important question.
Yeah, it's not all smooth sailing. While the potential is huge, there are risks. Because generative AI is still pretty new and evolving fast, guaranteeing perfect security and encryption can be, well, challenging. There might be vulnerabilities we don't fully understand yet. So potential for data breaches exists. There's also the risk of the AI generating inaccurate data or creating false positives, negatives tests that fail when they shouldn't or pass when they shouldn't. That can waste a lot of time chasing ghosts or, worse, miss real bugs.
Misleading results. Yeah.
Exactly. And managing sensitive test data securely is a big concern. How reliable are these AI systems, especially newer ones, with potentially critical information? And sometimes there can be a lack of transparency. Why did the AI decide this was a bug? Why did it generate that test case? If it's a black box, debugging can be really tough.
Okay, lack of transparency can be a real headache, so a lot to weigh up there. Right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've looked at what these generative AI testing tools actually are, how they're different from traditional automation. We've spotlighted some leading tools like testRigor, CoTester, Testlio, and touched on others, seen how they fit into DevOps and agile, and, crucially, discussed the security checklist and the potential risks involved.
And pulling it all together, the verdict from the sources we looked at is pretty clear. A good, reliable AI testing tool can significantly accelerate your software development lifecycle. Automation plus accuracy. And those top contenders, testRigor with its plain English approach, CoTester acting as that trainable AI agent, Testlio combining AI power with human guidance, they each offer distinct strengths depending on your specific needs.
So lots to think about. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with, something to chew on after this deep dive. Given how incredibly fast generative AI is evolving, I mean, it learns and adapts potentially way faster than any human can script test scenarios. How might the fundamental idea of testing itself change? Will we even talk about test cases in the same way 5 years from now? What stands out to you from everything we've discussed today?
CTS Academy Podcast, where ideas ignite and futures fall.